Welcome to episode 35 of the Cards and Cartridges podcast. I'm Ryan. I'm here with a man, Koozie Retro Games, and two special guests. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sure. I'm Beau from Beau's Game Room.
Hell yeah. Kelly?
I'm Kelly. You can find me on Instagram as Highway to Kel. But together, Beau, we are
Precisely.
That was cool. That was almost in sync, and maybe I can edit it so you guys
That'd
are
be great.
perfectly harmonious.
Harmonious.
But thank you guys for joining us. Precisely podcast on the Cards and Cartridges podcast, a little collab, if you will.
I love it.
Koozie, how's everyone doing today? Koozie, we'll start with you. You doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm at my girlfriend's house today, so when you guys are watching the clip, there will be a pink background with some engagement balloons in the back.
Don't let him fool you. That's his room.
gonna
I'm not
say.
in the basement for once, but doing good. Good week so far.
Awesome.
I'm doing awesome. Koozie, congratulations again on the engagement. It's
Thank you.
the biggest
Awesome
part of
market.
anyone's life, honestly, and then it just keeps going up, honestly, if you found the right person. So
Yeah, I'm excited. We looked at a house today, liked it, but wasn't the one. So we're in the house
Anymore.
hunting search.
yeah, wait longer. Hopefully the market goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild right now. It's absurd.
Yeah.
Kelly, how about you? How you doing today?
I am excellent. Again, Koozie, nice to see you in person, and I will wish you a happy engagement as well in person. Super exciting to get to that point.
I know. Thank you so much.
It's very exciting.
It's been all about me so far. I like this episode.
Yeah.
Koozie, unlike us. Very nice.
Ryan's not this nice to me.
No, trust me. I treat him well, guys. I treat him well.
Good, good.
But
Yes.
usually we'd start the episode off with a bolo. Be on the lookout for. And today we asked our guests, and Kelly came up with a good topic talking about 5-screw versus 3-screw NES cartridges. Kelly, do you want to tell the audience what exactly that is?
So if you have a Nintendo cartridge, the original Nintendo cartridge, and you look on the back side of it, the cartridge is screwed together, obviously, and then there's a little clip at the top, usually on a 3-screw game. So there's 3 screws in like almost a triangle format on the back of the cartridge, and then versus the 5-screw, which is a square format with one in the middle. And I don't believe you have the clip on the top on the 5.
Right.
So it's just the same game. It's just a variant of the game itself. So there were plenty of games that were made that had a 3-screw, and then there were plenty of games that had a 5-screw, and some were only 3 and some were only 5s. But then there's a couple that they are both 3 and 5 versions.
And like any weird variant, Nintendo collectors seem to be obsessed with tracking those down.
Mhm.
I think I've seen there's very few numbers, but there's a certain amount of 5-screw stadium events.
Oh god.
So you take the normal stadium events, make it a 5-screw variant. You can only imagine what that goes for.
How
I
is
think I
that a
saw some
thing?
guy sold one for like
Yeah.
$100,000.
Yeah, how is that a thing?
How is that a thing? Because isn't stadium events rare because it was only on the shelves for so little of time and then it got pulled to get the name changed to track and field?
Yes, but I don't no idea how it's a thing.
Okay.
But there must have been something in the production cycle,
Yeah.
maybe where they were made.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
probably the location of where they were made, because that's like one of the biggest factors for variations, it seems, in terms of games is the location. Because there were, I think, either 3 or 4 places that actually produced Nintendo games in that time period, which is interesting. But anyways, that's a good be on the lookout for. Do you guys collect any of those weird variants, like any of the nothing like that? That's like such a specific thing.
I don't
don't
really collect
spec-
Nintendo.
Yeah,
Like
there you
not
go.
not original Nintendo. I probably
Yeah,
only have like
same.
maybe a dozen games for
Same.
the original E NES.
Same.
I don't specifically look for them. Say I have a game and then I find the 5-screw variant and the 5-screw variant's worth more. I'll probably add that one to my collection and then sell the 3-screw. But I don't actively look for them.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of them, the difference in price is not really there. Like a lot of the
No.
more common games.
Yeah.
Like we were talking Black Label games, there was a lot of 3 versus 5, and honestly, it just depends on the person who wants it are they collecting 3 screw only or 5 screw only, because there are people like that. But it really isn't a price difference, because I guess the run amount was probably about the same.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of something like Black Label games, player choice games. Like some people care about it, some people just like it for the aesthetic. Some
Yeah.
people just want to get both versions of it.
I don't have the space to keep both
Yeah,
versions
That's
of
the
stuff.
thing.
Same.
It's crazy. That's
I,
crazy.
I don't even like, if for example, like, I just found like Booger Man on Super Nintendo, and like I
Great
already
game.
had like
Great game.
Booger Man on Sega Genesis, and I need to decide, like, do I want to keep the Super Nintendo version or the Genesis version? Like, I don't need the same game on multiple systems.
I guess it depends. It's just with everything with collecting, it's really just the fact that we're even talking about 5 screw versus 3 screw should sum up that pretty much. Like, collectors are picky, and like in general, people will just collect like how, I mean, we talk about it all the time, like collecting how you want to collect, and like what you want to collect is so specific to you. So that just goes along with the topic. Five screw versus 3 screw. Who would have really ever thought that like that would be something that people are dialed into?
Well,
Like,
and it goes to like my wife has been listing some video games of mine on eBay because we just had a baby and she's stay-at-home mom now. And for a while, she's going to stay-at-home mom. Sorry, can you guys still hear me?
yeah, you're good.
Okay. So, just slimming out the games that I'm not playing anymore. And I had Bat and Kratos for the GameCube. And I was like, this game's going. Yeah, this game's going for like 140 right now. And she's like, well, actually, it doesn't have the inserts with it. It just has the manual. I'm like, fuck those nerds that want the inserts. List it for 140.
Yeah.
Does
Like,
your
really,
wife
when it
know
comes
about?
out,
Does your
like-
wife know about games like is
Yes.
she like?
she knows about it because I've taught her, but at the same time in my head, I'm like, this is a pristine copy. It just doesn't have the generic Nintendo insert. Yeah, it has a manual. Like anyone
That's
could
the
take
important
any
part.
other game insert, like a cheap one,
Yeah.
like Finding Nemo, and like put it into Bat and Kratos.
That's a great game. Hold up. No, just
It
a
won't
cheap
have
game,
that
though.
Finding Nemo slander on here.
None of that.
It's
You
a
think
cheap
you
game,
could come
though.
to this podcast?
Oh
and
my God.
Slander. Have you seen
Finding
He's just
Nemo?
getting
We're getting
started.
so off topic already, but there's Finding Nemo conspiracy theories. I just saw one.
What?
It was like, so Marlin's the dad, and there's something like with like that certain type of fish where they'll like eat all their babies.
5 minutes.
So there's some conspiracy theory like that, like he killed all his babies.
no
and
shot.
just
Dude.
left
I'm never
Nemo.
gonna believe that. Stop that. You're
Interesting.
crazy.
What with the clownfish?
Yeah,
Is
Huh.
Dory in on it? Does she know?
She must.
She
but
must.
she
be
probably
in on
forgot about it.
She did.
Oh my
True.
gosh. It's the PTSD. That's why she has such a bad memory.
Oh, that's true.
Oh
that would
my
that would be
God.
brutal enough to trigger a PTSD response.
It's
All right,
going
Ryan,
all
what are
the
we talking about
way.
today?
All right, so the actual topics we have today, and that was a good little bolo, 5 screw versus 3 screw. Actual topics, we are going to be talking about road tripping and gaming, what we brought as kids on the road trip,
I like
and then
that.
what we bring now. It's changed drastically, but I think it's important. You're going on a little vacation, you got a little business trip, whatever you do, visiting the family back home, you need to bring some games. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to have a couple questions for our guests. Of course, they both bring unique experiences to the retro gaming community. We have a couple cool questions for them, and then finally we'll close it out with a viewer suggested topic that me and Chris and I both thought was very cool. Going to be talking about our bucket list in life and also in our collections. So like what we want to accomplish in terms of crazy bucket list things, and then also just a couple, and then also on our collection. But let's start out with the road trip and gaming topic. We'll ask our guests first. When you were kids, what were you packing on the road trip? Were you packing anything?
Batteries. Lots and lots of batteries.
Batteries. That's true.
When
We
I was a
forget about
kid,
that.
I had a Game Gear, which took 6 AA batteries.
Oh.
That was my first actual system. And my sister
Oh.
had an original Game Boy DMG, which
So
took
you were
4 AA
10
batteries.
batteries deep.
Easily.
You don't
Oh.
see
That's
many
just
people
the
having
start.
Game Gear as their first system. That's different.
Yeah. It is different.
You were a Sega kid, it sounds
my
like.
great grandpa bought it for me too, which was crazy. I was 6 years old. My mom recorded everything on a VHS camcorder. So there's actually tape of me opening up the Game Gear, loving it all the way up, and not caring any more about any of the presents, the cake, the people there. I was just like, no, I want to play X-Men and I want to play Sonic. Like,
oh yeah,
that's all that matters. And luckily they were smart enough to get batteries for me too, you know.
That was the worst. You get a present without batteries. You kind of look at the person who gave it to you a little differently. It's like, what are you doing?
Talking about batteries though, real quick.
Yeah.
My dad was like, hey, I think our TV's broken upstairs. And I was like, okay, I'll come over when I get a chance. And he's using a remote and he's like, it's just not working. And he has a Ziploc baggie of like 5 different AA batteries in it. And he's like, I've tried all these batteries. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, have you tried new batteries? Yeah. And he's like, well, I've tried all different variations of these batteries. I'm like, Dad, these batteries were probably when I moved out at 19. Like,
all different variations.
And I'm 33 now. I'm like, let me see if I have some batteries in my truck. And luckily I had a flashlight that took the same type of battery. And I brought those in, and sure enough, the TV worked. And he was like, thank you. You are the best son ever. I'm like, dude, you need to go buy some batteries.
Yeah. This was incredible. How did you figure this out?
Right.
It's the best.
What games were you bringing with you on your road trip, Beau?
So when it came to Game Gear, it was X-Men. I'm not sure if it was just called X-Men or whatever. I remember Gambit being in it, and Wolverine and stuff. And it was like an arcade side scroller, beat 'em up. Mm-hmm. And then Sonic 2, I think, were the 2 main games that I had. My sister had Kirby and Link's Awakening for the Game Boy, and Mario Land 2, I believe it was. And we played the shit out of those too. But like, you know, with the Game Boy, we had a worm light, but I don't think we ever used the worm light. So on the way home from the beach, when it was dark out or whatever, we're like literally like holding the Game Boy towards the window, hoping that street light will fucking come by and like hit it at the right time.
Like it's the most true actual meme. Like,
it was tough.
It was tough being a kid then.
Yeah, it was hard living.
Kelly, what about you? What were you packing back then?
I was packing for years. My Game Boy Color was all I had.
Hell yeah.
So I was rocking that. Literally, we would go to dinner. Like, we would go to dinner with my grandparents, and I would be like, well, we're gonna have to wait to throw the food, so I better bring my Game Boy.
100%.
So I'm rocking that thing. I had like a fanny pack and everything for it. I'm rocking it into the restaurant. Nobody's business. We're going out to dinner with friends. Doesn't matter. All of us got the Game Boys. We're locked and loaded. We're trading Pokemon under the table. Doesn't matter.
Under the table.
Literally physically sitting under the table.
Literally under the table.
I forget, with the Game Boy Color, was that infrared or was that link cable?
You could do infrared or link cable.
Well, yeah, we were running Pokemon Red and Blue and Yellow at that point, so we were doing link cable. Cool. But you could do it at some point. But that was my mainstay for many years, because I never blue.
Hell yeah.
It's not in the shot. I was gonna say it's up there, but that was my mainstay for a long time, because that was the only console my parents bought me until my PlayStation 2. So I was rocking that thing for a long time. And aside from that, the only other thing that I really threw in, it was always in the car, was in the seat back pockets. We always had those little like one-off game handhelds,
like the Tiger handhelds.
Like we had like a racing one. We had like, there was like a couple of them that weren't Tiger, but they were like Scrabble or
we had 20 questions. Did you guys ever play the 20 questions ones?
Yeah.
My mom would sit up. My dad would be driving. My mom would sit up front, and she'd be like, all right, think of something. And me and my brothers would huddle together, think of something, and then she'd just start rifling off questions on this little. It looked like it was a purple like 8-ball looking thing.
Yeah, I had that one.
It just would read your mind every time.
Yeah.
Did you have a handheld, Koozie, when you were a kid? I feel like I've never asked you this. Did you have a handheld?
So I had a Game Boy Pocket.
Whoa, you're
Whoa.
like the youngest one of us all, and
It was a
somehow
hand-me-down
has...
for my cousin.
Okay, that makes
That
sense.
makes sense.
So it had like typical, like had like the sticker on the
Baby.
back with his name and phone number, and it was a yellow Game Boy Pocket.
Nice.
That's pretty
And the
rad.
games I played the most, I played Pokemon Yellow, Lock and Chase,
I don't
and
even never
Chase,
heard of that.
That's a good game.
Lock and
It's
Chase,
basically
and
Pac-Man.
Dragon Warrior.
Okay.
And I
Dragon
had
Warrior
no
was
idea
good.
what I was
for
doing with-
you. Yeah.
No idea what I was doing with Dragon Warrior.
I'm
But
impressed.
I just had my little characters following behind me, and I
Yeah.
just wandered the map, act
that's-
like I knew what I was doing.
That's cool. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do when you're a kid. Like,
And same thing as Beau, like catching the street lights.
Yeah.
And then we got a minivan at some point, and it had the little fold down TV.
see, I was gonna. This was my next question.
We had the Wii at this point.
Oh, okay.
And up in the like the front of the minivan, like where like the radio is, it had the RGB
hookups.
output or
No, it's
input.
AV.
Wow.
Yeah. The
So we
AV.
played Wii on these road trips, like on this tiny
Fire.
TV, and it was so brutal because you had to find a place to set up the sensor
Uh-huh.
bar, and then the TV's like 4x4, and then divide that by or 3 or
Yeah.
4 players.
Yeah.
It was horrible, but
Oh
we
my
had fun
God.
with it.
Dude,
Playing like
we,
Smash Bros or Mario Kart on a little screen, a little square.
I
love
might
it.
one up you here because we did something even jankier than that. So when I got my GameCube, my dad, I guess, had discovered power inverters for the car.
Mhm.
So like you could plug in the 12-volt outlet and then have like 3 or 4 like regular plugs that you could plug.
You would plug it into the cigarette lighter.
Yeah, you plug in the cigarette and then it would break out with like 4
Yep.
outlets. And so we would do that and we'd plug in a small CRT, like an 8-inch CRT, and then it was a CRT VHS player combo, like an old
Nice.
Sylvania
God.
unit. And we'd have VHSs if we wanted, and then we'd also hook up the GameCube, similar situation, for split screen Smash. And
Yeah.
just like or just not split screen Smash because it's not split screen, but Smash on the tiny screen. It was just like mayhem. But split screen Mario Kart Double Dash battles, on the 8-inch screen, it's tough. Man,
So
it's
tough.
Did you guys have any car setups like that at all?
I mean, I'm trying to do the car setups now. I
Yeah.
have a Tacoma now, and I
They're also
love
older than us too, so I don't know if they were like
that was like a real 90s kid, like early 2000 or early 2000s
Early
kid.
2000s.
kid
Yeah.
thing, for
there's
sure.
a lot of screens now though that like attach to the older systems, or I guess they were out back in the day, but now I'm like getting into them.
Yeah.
And I have one for the GameCube that's like a really really shitty screen. I
Yeah.
have one for the PS1, like the mini PS1.
Yeah, there's like a
Um,
circular one, right? The
yeah.
circular screen. That's cool.
I even have one that's called a Hip Gear. Hip Gear's like this off-brand like Mad Cats that made these controllers with flip-up 2-inch screens, LCD screens on the controller, but you had to have the system plugged in and everything. And it's all these fucking wires, but you have this 2-inch screen on your controller I have it for Xbox, but they also make it for the GameCube and the PS2 as well.
That's actually rad.
Yeah, it's
like,
really cool, but
That's
it's
so weird.
when
but
doing an Xbox, the original Xbox is such a big
how
system.
much how much are those like kind of expensive rare collector's items at this point?
So
yeah,
I was-
kind of.
Because I want
Yeah.
one now.
I found
Yeah.
it's called the Mobile Monitor 5.4 for the GameCube, and I
Mhm.
found one CIB recently, and it goes for like
Wait,
$100.
you have one?
Yeah,
Can I buy it off you?
no,
Do you have the
Yeah.
Hip Gear? Or you have just a mobile monitor for
it's
the
called
GameCube?
like a mobile monitor.
But is
Okay.
that the for the controller though? I'm saying. I
No,
want
this
the one.
is like a
okay.
screen.
Oh
for the
yeah, I've
GameCube.
seen that. That's the child's play to what Bo's can.
Yes.
stand, like-
So they have a GameCube one right now on
Damn.
eBay. You can buy it for $100 plus $10 shipping from Canada.
That's honestly- that's pretty tempting.
There's a
I don't
PS2
need it
one.
at all.
PS2 one for $45 plus $16 shipping, but
Maybe
it
I'll do
says
that.
read description. So I don't know
it's
about that.
broken.
I got my Xbox one randomly for like $27. The guy had one shitty picture on it. It's like he took the picture and ran away from it. It's like just a blurry
I love
picture.
those photos.
Oh, I'm like, what the
were
fuck?
you doing? Did you
Yeah.
put the phone here and then just go like this while you
Yes.
took it?
And you
then
posted it.
and then you still
Yeah,
upload
and then
it.
like
Yeah.
this was good. This is perfect. They'll definitely
It
know
can't get any better than
exactly
this.
what they're looking at and how the condition is and what it's worth.
Exactly.
Come
So
on now.
he said, "Hey, like in the description, it was like, this works, but it doesn't come with the power cord, and like it needs its own extra cord for it. And I'm like, can you show me that it works? Because in the picture it didn't show that it worked, and I guess he had another one or something, or he had a cord for it, but he didn't want to sell it with it. And I was like, I just want to know what kind of cord it is. I was able to find this cord, and it was like a $5 cord on eBay.
Oh, yeah.
So I got this controller, the Xbox controller with screen, for $27 plus a $5 cord.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's cool, but at the same time, it's like, how many times am I going to play
Never.
this? You know, never really. You
The
know,
the only reason I want it is for photos. Like that would be so cool.
yes, and it's cool with photos. When I had an Xbox kiosk, I did it with a photo with like Stubbs zombie game or whatnot, and I was like, this is fun, but this is as good as a photo. You know,
Wildly impractical.
pretty much.
I barely use my PS2 screen, but it's a really cool thing. to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Do you have the one for the fat kiosk or the slim one?
It's the fat one, the fat Intech version, and it
Yeah.
just flips up, and the screen is like,
It's tiny, but it has
Minuscule.
speakers on the side. No,
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
yeah.
Me
That's
and my
what I
buddy
s-
found portable speakers for the PS2 recently.
Oh, I've
Oh.
seen those.
It's like a surround system for your PS2.
There's like a base to it as well. I don't know if it came as a set, but there was like a base that came out that looked like the lining on the PS2, and it would sit on that, and then you had the speakers, and then there was the screen. I don't know what else there was, but it was like a whole setup you could make. Like a home theater for your PS2, because that's kind of what it was for some people.
I
That's
get.
interesting.
I mean, yeah. When you say that, the PS2 was a home. That is how I sold my parents on buying me a PS2.
Play
was-
DVDs.
I was like, "Yo, it's a DVD player. We won't need a DVD player," because they were talking about buy a PS2, and they bought into it. And I got a PS2, man.
Yeah,
And
that was our only DVD player.
same, and I love that thing. And I played. I mean, luckily I did have a GameCube too, which was cool. I was a Nintendo kid as well, but the PS2 games, man. I mean, those.
What about nowadays? If you guys go on a road trip
Yeah.
nowadays, you bring anything with
Way
you?
to get us back on track, Chris. Thank you. Let's hear it from Beau and then Kelly.
Definitely. What do I not go out with? My wife fucking hates me. She's like, how many game systems are you going to bring and not
How often are
actually
you gonna show
play?
your feet in the photos too?
Oh wow.
It's
It's
a
been a while
call-out podcast.
It's been a while since I've shown my feet. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I need
It's
to
not-
take a
it's
new
not
photo.
kayak
Got a little
season.
red right there.
Yeah, that's true. It's not kayaking season. Honestly, this past year I didn't kayak enough. That's like my only regret in life ever, was not kayaking more than I did last year. But my wife went out once while pregnant, like 6 months pregnant, kayaked with me, and that was pretty amazing. She even almost flipped, but luckily I got her a sit on top kayak, so because of that she was completely safe. But it was scary, and we're like, let's not do this again, you know.
At least not while you're pregnant.
It's cool that we did it once, but no more.
Yeah.
Nowadays I bring the Wonder Swan. The Wonder Swan is always in my truck.
I've never
always have
played a
that.
Wonder.
But he
Swan.
goes from Game Gear to Wonder Swan.
Yeah, so I like weird shit that people don't play as much. I don't know. That's like, if you see my collection, it's a small collection of video games, like Kelly can attest to this, but it's like unique, strange games that are one-offs that you like really don't hear about. Kelly also collects the same way as I do. Like we like weird stuff, and that's like why we're so in tune with each other when it comes to our podcast and beer drinking and collecting and all that.
Now, what games do you play for the Wonder Swan?
My favorite right now would be Judgment Silver Sword, which is one of the most expensive video games for the Wonder Swan. It's a shmup, shoot 'em up that Wonder Swan like did like a competition where people could make their own Wonder Swan games with the Wonder Witch, which was programming in C, and you could program your own game, and if it got selected, they would actually make the cartridge and box it up and stuff. And Judgment Silver Sword is fucking dope. Like,
And it won.
pretty sure in Japan, yeah, it won 1 year, and I'm pretty sure in Japan they released it on the Xbox 360 with like other shmup games, so you can play it that way. But you could also like just like download the ROM or whatnot. But It's really fun. It's really good. I actually was playing with like 5 other people on Instagram trying to get high scores on the game, because luckily with the WonderSwan and other handheld systems, you can get EverDrives with it, and the EverDrive for the WonderSwan is called a Flashmaster, and the guy that sells the Flashmasters, the Judgment Silver Sword already comes on it like pre-flash, but this game's like $2,000, $2,500 if you can even find it on eBay.
Yeah,
wow.
Was this the one that I was playing at your house recently?
Yes. Yeah.
That was fun.
It's so much fun. It's like really fucking good, and it's really fucking crazy.
It does get crazy fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have two different blasters, and you have a shield, and you have to fucking use that shield once you get to like level 6. Like,
yeah, I think I got to like
some bullets.
I think I played it 3 times before we recorded the one day, and it was like I didn't get past level 10.
Yeah.
Like the first one, I was like, what do these buttons do? And then the second round, I was like, okay, I understand. And then the third round, I was like, holy shit.
And what's cool with the WonderSwan is you can hold it 2 different ways, like landscape mode, like a Game Gear would be, I guess. And then you can hold it in portrait mode for certain games like Judgment Silver Sword. But another awesome game that I love playing is Klonoa on it, which Klonoa people would know for the PS1, PS2, the Wii as well.
Game Boy Advance.
Game Boy Advance, yep.
But on the WonderSwan, Klonoa, it's the original WonderSwan, so it's not in color, it's black and white. But you can actually change the orientation on each level and play it different ways.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, it's really unique.
Is the WonderSwan only in Japanese? Like, is it?
Yeah, it only came out in Japan, and I believe in like maybe North Korea or South Korea, and like a few games came out there. There's some games that are in English, like Digimon. All the Digimon games came out in English.
That's cool.
But a lot of the JRPGs are fully in Japanese. So the Flashmaster, the EverDrive for it is a great way to get like fan translated games. And there's a big community. I mean, it's a small community, but there's a semi-big community for the WonderSwan on translating these games. So I've been playing Final Fantasy 1 and 2 on the WonderSwan as well, with English patch to it. And it's semi-patch, like it's semi-English, semi-not. Like the menu is still in Japanese, so you just sort of got to know like what equip is and what item is and magic and all of that. But everything else is in English, so
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
It's like definitely a unique way to experience some of those games, it sounds like.
Yeah, and like it's Final Fantasy 1 and 2 for the original Nintendo, but it's updated sprites and graphics.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah.
When did the WonderSwan come out?
I want to say the same year as the Game Boy Color.
Wow.
And they started with a black version that just ran off of one AA battery, but the battery lasts fucking forever.
Is it a large library or a small library of games?
I want to say it's like around it. I don't think there's over 200 games, including WonderSwan and WonderSwan Color games.
Nice.
But I could be wrong.
Oh yeah. Kelly, what about you? What do you take with you these days on the road?
Not much has changed.
I'm with you.
I just switched from Game Boy Color to a modded Game Boy Advance. So I have a bigger handheld backlit. Well, it's one of the modded screens, so it's a lit screen. And then I have an EverDrive for that I just throw in. And then you've got the whole Game Boy Advance library at your fingertips, which is a pretty solid library. So I like to have that just like on me for whenever.
Yeah.
But if I'm taking like a trip, I'll probably throw in my Switch.
Yep.
With a couple of games. But yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, the Game Boy Color, or I mean the Game Boy Advance is like the daily travel system kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's like me. I do Game Boy Color with a flash drive, and then Switch if I'm going on a extended vacay, I guess. And I have a gaming laptop that I bring with me most places, because it's like it's a gaming laptop, but it's still like it doesn't look like a gaming laptop. You know what I mean? Like some gaming laptops look like gaming laptops.
Yeah.
This is like like a sleeker, thinner. It just doesn't look like a gaming laptop.
It's easier.
I can still do work on it and not look like a giant nerd, which is okay. I'm a giant nerd. I am what I am. But
you can go to Starbucks and people might think that you're writing a novel, but
correct.
really you're
but
playing
really
Fortnite.
I'm correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then they see him outside after with his Starbucks taking a picture of like this Lugia card in like the parking lot or something, and they're like, we thought he was normal the whole time.
Yeah, they're like, no, he's
us.
Yeah,
the girlfriend like nudges the way.
He's like, you're a fucking weirdo. Yeah. This guy's
a weirdo.
Why is he doing this? Chris, what about you? Do you Chris, you don't game at all these days. So like
I normally like,
do you play any mobile games? It is with a mobile phone game.
I like to drive. I like to drive. I hate like passenger seat, like anything backseat. I want to be the one driving. I like being in control, even if it's not like my car we're taking. I'm like, hey, I'll drive.
Honestly, but
like, so I don't have time to play the games. But even like when me and Becca took our road trip, we road tripped across the country. She would drive and I brought my 3DS like with me. I was like, oh, I'll play my 3DS at times, and I never did. I just like I was so tired from driving, I just like slept. Or I just was like looking around, looking at things I've never seen before.
Yeah.
So I normally bring a 3DS with me and a Game Boy. And I would like when we go to Cedar Point, I bring a Game Boy SP with me, and I'll be in line and waiting for the roller coasters playing like Mario World on the Game Boy SP.
Simple, but it gets the job done.
Yep. I mean, it fits in your pocket easy. You can bring it in. Life's good.
That's fair.
That's fair. It's a good point that you brought that up, Chris, because I should amend my statements to say these are only games I can play while stationary.
Yeah.
I cannot play in the car. I learned that I had severe motion sickness while I was playing the Game Boy in the car at like
That'll do it.
8-10 years old. It's like, why do I feel really crappy every time I play my Pokemon game in the car?
Is it like, so Becca has that too? Like if she's got her laptop with her and say she's doing homework while driving, whatever, and it's the constant like looking down. I don't know, looking down while moving for her and like focusing on something else. She feels sick.
I don't know what it is. Yeah. It's wild because it started as just I couldn't read or I couldn't play a game in the car. And now as I've gotten older, I can't even sit in a back seat. I have to be front seat passenger or it's game over.
Do you take like Dramamine or anything? Does it help?
Yeah, but then it knocks you for the rest of the day. So unless you're traveling all day, like if it's over an hour, I ask if I'm not like, if somebody I know is driving and it's not like my husband or my family that doesn't know, I'm always like, can I have the front seat? Because if not, like I will take copious amounts of Dramamine and I'll be fine, but I'll just be out in the back seat. You won't have me for the rest of the day. But I can deal with it if I'm sitting in the front and we'll be fine. But yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I don't think I've shared this on the podcast before. I used to, or still do. So games used to come out. Obviously, we didn't have like high refresh rate technology like we do now in 144 FPS compared to back in the day when we were running games at like FPS, for those that don't know, specifically Chris, frames per second.
I knew that.
I'm just fucking with you, brother. I'm fucking with you. I don't know. You might not have known that. So anyways, we used to run games at like 25 30 frames per second. Even N64 could have been like 15, like really bad. And I would get if games that run at those settings or those that refresh rate or that frames, I would get simulator sickness, and I learned it to be simulator sickness, where it's like it's the same type of thing as motion sickness. Like my stomach would start to hurt, I would get nauseous, and it was because I was playing these games where you would move and it wouldn't quite move fast enough. Like it was just like the lag almost in the game would give me motion sickness. And that almost completely went away now that games are developed to, games push 60 FPS, 104. Oh my God. I mean, my PC runs games at 144 FPS and up. It's like, there's none of that anymore. I don't get the same feeling. But if I go and play some retro games, I'll still get it. It's weird. And I'll have to like play it in chunks almost, where because it's a real thing. And it's just so weird. It's like, I don't know.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Because it transfers over to me with VR games. Certain VR games, it was like 2 minutes in. I was like, no, we can't do this. And whereas other games, it was fine.
Right. And I think if VR finally gets to the point where it's like, fast. You know what I mean? Like if I think there are some newer ones that are like 120 FPS, 144, but they're like fucking five grand or something. Like maybe because I can't play VR like that either. Like I have the same feeling. I don't know. Beau, you play VR?
Yeah, I love VR. That's one thing I've been like collecting without telling anyone that I collect.
Well, now you did. This podcast
I guess so,
has
yeah.
2 million listeners. So
unlike a lot of people, I buy a lot of things and I never like take pictures of them. I don't know.
I felt like that was a direct shot at me, I feel like.
No. It's a direct shot at everyone, I guess. Like as much as I'm like hype about things, until I play it, I don't really want to fucking talk about it or like post a picture about it unless I'm like so hype about it.
That makes sense.
So yeah, there's a bunch of PSVR games that I have. Like I don't have an Oculus or anything, but I have PlayStation VR. I haven't played it in a while. It's like a system I always bring out when we have new friends over, and it's like, have you tried VR? And they're like, no, I haven't. It's like, well, you need to try Astrobot, you need to
Beat
try
Saber.
Tetris Effect, and then you need to try Beat Saber. And
Fruit Ninja.
I don't like Fruit Ninja though. That's
my
the
sister
thing.
loves playing Fruit Ninja whenever she comes over.
It seems like Fruit Ninja's just too close to the screen and it doesn't swipe right. Like whereas Beat Saber is just so in tune
Beat
to
Saber's
like
so sick.
No matter what like size you are or like how close you are to the camera, it just like knows already. Not to hate on Fruit Ninja because I do like Fruit Ninja at Dave and Buster's, like on the big
Fruit
screen.
Ninja
That's
on
fun.
the iPhone Touch or iPod Touch. Hold up, iPod Touch first gen. When that came out,
iPad or iPod?
iPod Touch.
Oh.
The first gen iPod Touch was groundbreaking, and that's when Fruit Ninja came out.
Don't even get me started on game. That's a whole nother topic for another day.
For iPod Touch or Fruit Ninja?
That freaking Temple Run.
Oh,
Flappy
Run's
Bird.
a good one. Flappy Bird, Angry Birds.
Wow, this was my freshman year in college.
See, I don't know the iPod Touch at all.
iPod Touch was probably sixth, one of those grades. Fifth,
the iPods that I knew had a wheel on them. Does this not have a wheel?
There's no wheel.
This was after
the first one they made with a touchscreen. It was pre-iPhone, I think, or at the same time as the iPhone. At the
same time as
was
iPhone.
It?
There we go.
Did it look like an iPhone?
Was it
like a full screen?
Exactly like an iPhone. No phone capabilities.
No camera either.
No camera either. The first one was just It took a couple generations, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm completely unfamiliar with one of these. I actually saw an iPod Nano, I think they're called, for the first time this year while working at the pawn shop. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's an Apple product that I'm unaware of. So I'm surprised I haven't seen an iPod Touch.
Yeah, I mean that's a perfect segue though, Beau. You know we have some questions for y'all. You know, you bring unique perspectives to the gaming community. You just started a new job, huh?
Yeah, recently in June I did.
It's a pawn shop. Tell us about it. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, so I work at a pawn shop. I like it. We buy and sell things. I see a lot of video games come in, a lot of stuff that I buy cheap, like video games, no matter what it is, I'm giving you $1, $2 per game. I'm not even looking that shit up. I'm just like, you're getting $2 for this Super Mario. Like, I don't give a fuck. And it's nice.
Oh yeah.
I mean, sometimes with Nintendo Switch games, I'll look it up and, you know, we do as best as we can where it's like 50%, but like PlayStation games, Xbox games, all that, you're getting $2, $1.
I mean, the people bringing it in think it's worth $2 anyways.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, unfortunately, with a pawn shop, a lot of people are in need of money for different reasons. So they're hard up and they have something that they don't care about as much as the thing that they do care about, if it's bills or other things.
Now, were you just like, I'm looking for a new job, a pawn shop sounds cool? Or did you like nobodies that owned it or worked there? Or like, how'd you get into like the pawn shop? Or is it like reselling video games? You thought, oh, pawn shop would be cool?
It's a long story, but pretty much I was fed up with my last job, asked for a raise, didn't get it. And I used up my vacation days for a week and did eBay, like not 24/7, but like as like a work week. I did 35 hours of eBaying and it was a struggle in the beginning, but like Wednesday hit and the money just started fucking raining down. And I was like, holy shit, like I can do this myself. Like I've always eBayed, right? But I've always done it as the part-time. Like when I get home, we'll watch a movie and I'll throw some fucking video games or Pokemon cards or whatever, up on eBay, whatever I have, like a bunch of vintage clothing. My parents owned 3 designer stores back in the day. So like a bunch of Ralph Lauren vintage clothing, I would fucking throw up and like make money off of that. Whatever I could find that has value, I would sell. But my wife was like, just see how you are selling on eBay as a full-time job. And I was like, okay. And the hardest part was like trying to get away from my 4 animals while eBaying. I'm like, leave me alone for a little bit. Like, let me just be in my own room and like do this. And then I realized that I could do it. So I quit my job. I gave my 2 weeks. And during that time, a friend of a friend was like, hey, my homie owns a pawn shop and he's looking for someone that knows buying and selling. And I was like, I've been a horse trader all my life, so let me meet him. And we connected and he was like, yeah, dude, like you seem awesome. And he's younger than me.
Okay.
He's only 30 years old, owns 2 pawn shops already, wants to open a third one and have me manage the third one once it opens. So it's a really good, like, just foot in the door, but I've learned so much because, I mean, buying and reselling like we all do, right? Yeah. We know video games, we know cards, we know whatever else we know, vintage clothing, this and that. I'm learning about diamonds, gold, silver,
it's really
precious metals, old baseball cards, which Kuzi, like shit.
I was gonna ask about that. I was gonna ask like how working at the pawn shop has just expanded your knowledge about
so much
other stuff.
Like we use eBay as a tool on what things sell for, but there's things that you can't look up on eBay. Like obviously a gold chain you can't look up on eBay. You got to see if it is actually gold, test it with acid, and then weigh it, and then come up with a good percent to buy it from them where they're happy, on selling it to you, and that we're happy that we're making a little bit of percent if we melt it down. But everyone's like, I spent 7,000 on this chain and you're only giving me 1,000. It's like, well, yeah, jewelry stores mark up their shit 600%, unfortunately. Like, come to the pawn shop, like go to your local pawn shop, because I've never been to one until I worked at one.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, they have everything and it's cheaper and you can fucking haggle. That's the best part. People come in there and they're like, oh, you got that electric bike for $900? I'll give you 700 cash right now. I'm like, give me 800. It's yours, dude. Like it's fucking fun.
Do you find more people negotiate or more people don't negotiate?
It all depends who they are.
Yeah.
Like we have customers that come in daily, not like daily to weekly, that, they come in, we're like, oh, here we go. Like, are you just window shopping? Like, did you actually bring fucking money today? Like, what are you doing? When we call them out on their bullshit, like a lot of people will come in just being like, $200 item. They're like, I'll give you $100. And we're like, fuck you,
Yeah.
Like you got to come with more than that. Anyone will buy this for half off.
Now, when you were doing eBay full time, were you like going to thrift stores, garage sales, all that stuff, like sourcing inventory and posting it all?
So I hit up one yard sale that was like a community yard sale during the time, and I was able to hit up probably like 20 different houses. And what was funny during that time was there was someone before me, even though I was out there in the beginning, that somehow hit every house first. It was like, you got video games? Because when I asked for video games, they're like, there was someone before you. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding
I get there
me?
40 minutes for the
That's why I almost don't even bother with garage sales anymore, bro.
Yeah.
I almost don't even bother. It's not worth it in my area.
You know what though? I got some cool stuff from there though. And I definitely listed a bunch from there, like some shoes, some Nikes, LeBrons and stuff that I sold, and made 600% profit on.
Yeah.
Like I bought them for $10 and sold them for 70. So like,
that's one thing I'm trying to do. Starting, like, I've always wanted to do it, but like this past like week, I've kind of put it into, okay, I'm actually going to do it. So I have an hour lunch break at work and I can hit like 2 thrift stores in that hour lunch break around me. And I was like, okay, like it was yesterday when I went to a thrift store, I go, okay, I'm starting to look for other stuff. And I picked up a pair of ski boots for $3 that should go for $30. And then there was like this old like touch and speak Tiger electronic thing for $3 that should also go for 30. And I was like, I'm just trying to diversify. I mean, they're not going to sell as quickly as the video games.
Yeah.
But it's just expanding my knowledge.
Definitely expanding. So one thing, like with our pawn shop, we've definitely just started remodeling it all. We just got our FFL to sell firearms too.
Hell yeah.
So that's going to get so many more different types of customers coming in. But we've actually opened up the whole like area, like where we had pawns, we brought all of our pawns and layaways to the basement and opened up that area as storefront. So like my boss is like, we got to be particular on what we're buying. We're not just buying everyone's bullshit. You know, like it has to be top brand tools, has to be shit that you would buy, you know, like none of this like China brand stuff and this and that. So with snowboarding, skiing stuff, we can't buy that. People don't really buy it that much.
No, not at a pawn shop.
And what I would tell you, Kuzi, even if those boots are $30, how much is it going to be to ship it? Probably like over
15.
$20.
Yeah, at least
to ship it.
You can get like, they have like priority mail shoe boxes. I know ski boots are a little bit bigger, so they might not fit. But
they
priority mail shoe boxes
is a 15.85. It won't fit.
No,
hardly any sneakers fit in the shoebox size. Yeah, I know all sizes of priority boxes.
He's like 15.85. I know
something I'm learning as I start to diversify into this stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah. This is a good segue though, because I know we don't have all the time in the world, but we want to talk a little bit about what Kelly does too. Kelly, we have like a specific question, kind of. How has it been going from like hobby collectorist? I don't know what the word is. Hobbyist.
I couldn't think of the word either. I think in my notes, hobby collector.
Hobbyist collector.
Just stop.
Yeah, we're gonna stop.
I feel like I'm having a seizure.
Yeah, we're all having a seizure right now. Sorry, listeners.
A hobby collector.
Hobby collector.
How about a game collector?
Take a shot every time Ryan says hobby collector.
Yeah, game collector.
Just call 911 ahead of time.
Yeah, just call 911. How's it been going from that, whatever I was trying to describe there, to a full-on store owner? Tell us a little bit about that, because you own a retro game store, correct?
Yes, it is a wild situation. I have learned so much. I am in now my 8th month being open.
It's crazy.
So,
I think I just saw the
what's the store and where you located?
Was like,
oh yeah. So if you're in central Pennsylvania, swing on through, tell them Cards and Cartridges sent you.
Hell yeah.
It's called Retro and Rad. It's in New Cumberland, so right outside Harrisburg, Hershey area. If you're familiar, smack dab in the center of the state. You can follow it on Instagram or Facebook too, Retro and Rad. But it is like Beau was saying, like, and Cozy was saying, you're diversifying your portfolio, because I am in my heart a video game collector, but I also deal heavily in vintage toys now. Other 80s, 90s pop culture, like memorabilia, essentially. I've got like a whole bunch of random stuff that like I was just buying when people were bringing in, because I think, okay, yeah, that'll sell. Like I'm not sticking to, I'm only selling
nerd store.
Right. I'm not only selling video games. I'm not only selling toys. You bring me a cassette tape that's Tupac, yeah, I'll buy that. You know, you bring me a Goosebumps book, yeah, I'll buy that. Old radio, sure, why not? Polaroid, heck yeah. Like VHSs, I'm even buying those too. Like things are coming in that it's not just people coming in and shopping for video games and shopping for toys. A lot of people come in and they look around, they think, oh, okay, I had this, I remember this era, you know, let me grab, I don't know, a slap bracelet on the way out or something, you know?
Bracelet.
So it's like a
Just
ton
hit
of
me straight in the field.
it's like a ton of stuff like that too. Like it's, I can't specifically call myself one thing. I just say that it's just a store of nostalgia, basically. Like when you get in there, it's just like a lot.
Have you been able to build your collection like faster or more? Do you say somebody trades in video games? Are you keeping any of those? Are you keeping any of those for your personal collection?
I have not really skimmed off the top at all.
Yeah.
To be fair, There is very little that I am looking for that's, I guess, like a generalized thing that would come in. I think after collecting for probably about a decade, you get a little bit pickier.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I mean, if something cool were to come in, I would definitely be like, okay, that one's just not going to hit the floor. Like if it was something that I was looking for, I would be like, yeah, finders keepers. But I also have like a really good amount of people that come in that are game collectors themselves and different levels in life. So I've got people out there that are collecting 3DO, that are collecting Jaguar, that are collecting, the weird shit like that. And they're paying the top dollar for it. And then I got people who are just out there trying to get, couple copies of, I don't know, like Fallout 3 for PS3 or something. Like they're not
of copies of
I don't know.
Fallout 3.
I need more than one. I need more than one.
More than one. Yeah.
Fallout 3 is a great game. Don't get me wrong, but
I don't know.
I follow a game store out in Seattle, and they make YouTube videos. So like they kind of vlog their daily store and like their trade-ins and things like that. And the guy who owns the store, he is an everything collector. He's trying to go for full sets of every system. So I can see if you're going for full sets of every system, you're really kind of just picking stuff off like what comes into the store. Because even if it's like cheap 360 games, it's like, okay, I need Madden 05, I need this and this and this. So it's like he's always like, oh yeah, we had like this stuff trade, and he's showing it. And he's like, also there's like a separate stack that I kept from my collection. You'll see that in my pickup video.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't usually do too much of that, right? Like I said, unless like the certain thing came through, a lot of it just goes right out to the floor. So
have you enjoyed being a store owner?
Oh, I love it. It's so fun.
Do you have any employees?
It's just me.
Has that been stressful and tiring?
It is the best and worst thing.
Yeah.
Because the only person to answer to my bullshit is me. So on many levels it's great. But also I need like 6 more of me right now because the demand is very high. But in the business aspect, you're not really at the point where you can feasibly start hiring employees yet either, because a lot of things come with hiring legally and financially. So just not comfortable yet, and the demand is there. So like it's crazy. Like my mom is retired and she'll come in and just like clean action figures sometimes because she thinks it's awesome. And I appreciate that, Mom. But like it's just me out there doing everything. And so it's been hard to do all the stuff that I want to do, but I'm getting to the point where I'm more comfortable with day-to-day operation, as long as it doesn't get like busy with customer flow into the store, that I can start banging out things. And I really haven't had much time to do eBay listing either, which is stressful in the fact that like I know there are things that should be on eBay. But I just
what do you mean by that? Like things that like won't won't sell in store but still have value?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are very specific. Like for just something totally random is like I have a Masters of the Universe, literally a cardboard box that held a Prince Adam figure and Orko, and it was like this department store 2-pack. And like I guess you could say, in the words of our game collecting, it was a variant box, because usually you would just get it on one of those plastic, and so it was like, that's something super weird that nobody's going to want to walk in the store and be like, do you have this He-Man box?
Yeah.
If I put it on eBay for a couple $100,
it's
I guarantee you a He-Man collector is going to be like, yeah, that's going on my shelf.
So don't clean the next toy and instead list that box. And like she also has a bunch of sealed like DS games too. Like,
yeah, that was going to say there's a lot of sealed like product that it doesn't move as quick in store.
I bought some off of you.
I was going to say I sent some to you, but there's a lot of like newer sealed stuff that I want to throw online that I think would move there quicker.
Yeah.
But it's the other thing is that like not only am I, cleaning action figures or whatever, but I get the trade-ins or I get the sell items sold to me coming in quite frequently.
Right.
So that comes in and I see like, oh, it's got all this profit on it. Essentially, like I know I got 6 GI Joes and I've got 10 guys who collect GI Joes. I gotta get the GI Joes out because they'll come buy it, or I got a couple of high quality games in here. I want to get the games out. So then it turns into me prioritizing what goes out first, and then 2 more trade-ins come in that day. And all of a sudden I'm prioritizing those trade-ins. And then all of a sudden you're just trying to process the inventory, and it just stacks to the point where it's like, all right, well, something's gotta give here. And so I'm getting to the point where a lot of my back inventory has been taken care of, though, because October was a pretty slow month historically in retail. It is. So it is what it is. So I got a ton of stuff done. So I'm looking forward to using some time in November to put stuff on for the holidays. So having some big things on eBay for December, rolling around Christmas gifts to yourself, whatever it may be.
The time is now, right now, to list on eBay. Like I just listened to your guys' last podcast, and it sounded like both of you guys were being lazy, and you're admitting to being lazy on selling and stuff. And like really right now, like winter's hit, like winter's coming or whatever. I'm not sure, like month wise and date wise, like if winter is now or if it's still fall or whatever. It's still fall, right?
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, it was just Halloween. Yeah. Okay. Either way, right now is the time to list.
I've got
because you will sell so much shit right now because people are getting ready for Christmas gifts and people want to be prepared. And just like you said, Kuzi, like it's a good time to buy material, like packing material and bubble mailers and boxes and this and that. Like it's a great time to also list because people are thinking about gifts right now. And there are people that prepare for all the Christmas gifts that they need to buy. And there's people that aren't, that wait until the very end. Right.
My mom told me, she told me today or a couple of days ago, she goes, your Christmas list is due by November 10th.
Oh man,
that's nice of your mom.
Yeah, it's nice.
Santa told me my Christmas list is due by November.
Even better
nice
that you still believe
Santa
in
too.
Santa too. Damn, bro. Tell Santa I want something.
Yeah. No, I mean
I want something.
True.
The other day.
I was gonna make another joke. I'm gonna chill.
Whoa.
We're all gonna chill.
Hey,
the other day, literally, what was it, like 2 or 3 days before Halloween, some woman came in and dropped a whole bunch of money, and she was like, these are Christmas gifts. And I was like, oh shit, here we go. Like it's on.
Be ready.
It's happening. Like this is, you're very right though, because I remember last year, I left my job at the end of October. And I was doing eBay full time, November, December, January, February. And I just absolutely murdered it from November, December. Like once I had no full-time job and I was just listing all day, I think I know my husband was like, oh my God, what is she doing? Because I was printing like 10, 20 labels a day. Like
it's awesome.
It was awesome. So I definitely, if you are listening or if you are in this podcast and you have things to sell, do it now for sure, because that'll start ticking up like within the next week.
I agree.
It's crazy.
Can I ask you guys a question, since you guys are resellers or like you like selling? Resellers has such a bad connotation to it, but like really, like to me it's like, are you smart about your money or are you not? Because like really we only have a limited amount of space and time to play these games and collect them. So we all buy lots to save money. Do you want to keep every fucking game? Do you want to keep
this is where we differ, bro. This is where me and Kuzi differ.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, like you want to fucking get rid of stuff so that you have money to buy other things, things that you actually will play or that you want or whatever. And it doesn't even have to be video game related. It could be that fucking engagement ring.
Yep.
Yeah. Hoarding's great, but like really you got to know when to get rid of stuff. And like,
I agree.
With my life and just having a baby and stuff, I'm looking at my video games differently, where I'm like, I'm not going to have time to play this JRPG. And now I'm looking at how much it is on eBay and it's $250. Like, yeah, I would rather have $250. I bought it 3 years ago for $50.
I'm
Like,
with you.
like
I'm
why
in
not?
a weird spot right now, to where I've been collecting games about 5 years now, and I can count the number of games I bought like in a claim sale for like full price, or I mean full, you get a couple bucks off in a claim sale of like retail prices, or on eBay, like on my fingers and toes combined. Like I am 100%, almost 100% garage sales,
Yeah,
Facebook Marketplace,
and
etc.
that's
So
great.
I've
A lot
paid
of
pennies on
profit.
the dollar for the stuff.
Yeah.
So my break-even point's real low, and I have over 1,000 games in my collection, and it's almost quality over quantity. I don't have 2K5 on the Dreamcast and things like it's all like, even like I never play my Dreamcast, so I'm like $50 Dreamcast game on the shelf. My collection is my investment, and I keep a spreadsheet of like what I've spent and what I've sold in like a year, my quote unquote fiscal year, and like I know how much profit I made, and that doesn't include like what I've added to my collection, and it's a nice size number. But what you were saying at the end, where you just had a baby, so you're selling some stuff, or engagement ring. We have our friend group, and 4 people from our friend group are going to Europe next year, and it's like $5,000, and that includes your flight, your hotels, and it's like a travel group. So you're with this group of people, and they shuttle you around countries, and it's like a whole tour thing through all of Europe for like 2 weeks. And I've been thinking about, I was like, well, Becca and I are just bought a ring, got to buy a house, save for a wedding, etc. Do I sell?
Weddings are so expensive.
Do I sell 10 video games
Get
and go to
Santa
Europe
Claus
for 2 weeks?
Get Santa Claus and your mom to do the wedding.
Yeah,
And you'll be fine.
Yeah,
I wish.
honestly,
Santa
hit
Claus
them up.
wedding.
Santa
But it's
Claus
like,
wedding, bro. That's a good call.
I've got a couple
I
graded
say
games. I've got a
yes.
couple graded cards. Do I sell 10 items and go to Europe for 2 weeks?
I say yes. Like, honestly, right now we're at such a bubble, and like,
Yeah.
yes, the bubble has kept expanding over and over, but like eventually, don't you think it's going to burst? Like eventually,
I've said that, even if it bursted, if it went to 0 tomorrow, yes, I missed out on X amount of dollars, but I spent nothing on it, and I had the time of my life collecting this stuff over the 5 years.
Sure.
yeah,
If I was somebody
you'll
who-
definitely have regrets. though.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
I've changed already. I've used to be a little bit more similar to young Christopher here, where I would just, keep as much as I could, kind of thing. Like, oh, it was cool getting all these lots and being able to keep extra games for free, essentially, because I was making, my money back on the lot. But since life, pretty much, life gets expensive. We all know it. Like, I really focus on just like my like tunnel vision goal is to collect games from my childhood in as nice condition as I can, whether that be really nice CIB or sealed, like something like that. And like, that's it, like games from my childhood in super nice. And if it doesn't fit into that category, it's probably for sale. Like,
And it could be just, I haven't much. I mean, I'm 23. I still live at home.
You're young.
I don't have many bills. So I just haven't realized how expensive life is yet.
You'll get there, bro. It sucks.
Once
as soon as you move out, dude, you will realize that, like, oh yeah, I don't need this game. I don't need that game. I need rent. I need my water bill. I need my cell phone bill. I need
cell phones important. Health
if
insurance.
You buy a car, health
A.
insurance is a lot.
I think that is the main thing. I think
health insurance you won't have to worry about until you're
26.
26, yeah. So you're fine.
And I don't resell. I've got my normal 9-to-5 job.
So you're fine. It's just it's more of just like a crazy thing.
Everything else, wedding, anything. So it's definitely something I've thought about. But like, I'm happy where my collection's at. I'm happy that I've spent literally $0
it.
on it.
No,
I would say wait until you need it.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, if you want some extra money and you don't want to go into your savings or whatever, sell that one game for $200.
Exactly.
And then you got 200 extra bucks.
Exactly.
Look at the game and be like, does this give me any joy besides knowing that I bought it?
That Marie Kondo, baby. That Marie Kondo.
I don't even know what that is.
She's the woman.
Spark and Joy.
Yeah, she's Spark and Joy. She wrote a book about if something doesn't bring you joy, then you just get rid of it. So you pretty much said that verbatim. So
yeah. You're her. Pretty much. That's what it is. I am her. Yeah.
You're her.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks.
No, Kuzi, the one thing that you said that really sad, I mean, I was there like when I moved out and I like had like my first big couple paychecks, from my first adult job. I was like, hell yeah, we're buying video games, buying lots. I'm keeping stuff that I was like, we're not going to play this, but I want to keep it. And then within like 2 years, I was like, why did I keep this? Like, why did I keep this? I have no idea. So there was a lot of stuff that you shift your perspective as you get into a more mature collecting phase. 5 years is, it's a good, where you're at, you have a good amount of stuff. Like, it's an awesome collection. And if you love it, then you love it. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. But you said that it's your investment and that, you mark your profit at the end of each fiscal year, which is awesome that you're keeping track of that. Cause that's something I wish I would have kind of kept more track of that.
Yeah.
But you don't have any profit until you sell an item.
Yes.
And this is what I tell people all the time. You can come into my store and you can say, I saw this Atari sell for $1,000 online. I said, sure, you probably saw a sold listing or you probably saw a listing that wasn't sold. But am I going to pay you $1,000 for that attic Atari? No. And you going to find anybody that no. So
what I meant by profit is like stuff I've actually sold and gotten the money.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So like actually like through the live claim sales through eBay, like I have like a what I've spent and what I've actually received money.
Okay.
And then by investment, I meant like just like what my collection is worth sitting on the shelf.
Good. Because there's so many people out there that say this is my investment 100%. And I have to say this isn't worth, and somebody can come in and tell me I have 100 Pokemon cards and they're all worth $100,000 each. Yeah. I'll say, sure. Yep. Have you sold them? Do you have $100,000 in your pocket?
Yeah.
Then no, you didn't profit off of these cards. They're just sitting in your binder.
Right.
Those games are just sitting on your shelf. So unless you're willing to part with something like that, the people who may be listening to this that say that as well, don't go around saying I have this huge investment, this profit sitting here in my binder on my shelf, whatever. It's not, because you didn't get rid of nobody bought it from you. You just bought it with a market value. Yes. Yeah. You bought it with a market value and you think that's what you're going to get. And might not be the case. It might not be the case tomorrow. It might tank. You have no idea. So
like Beau just said though, it is fun to like remember, like you look at games now and we are in a bubble, say just prices are inflated. It's fun to look at something like, oh, I did spend $50 on this.
Oh yeah.
Like one I remember, like just off the top of my head, like, I mean, I traded somebody for Haunting Ground, and Haunting Ground at the time was like $150 2 years ago. And now it's like $300. So it's like, it's doubled in value.
It's nice.
My Klonoa game, PS1, I traded probably like 4 or 5 years ago. I traded, it was $200, $600.
Yeah.
Is it 600 now? Yeah.
I mean, all the Pokemon games on my shelf, I think I paid $50 or less CIB for each of them.
Same.
Which is crazy.
I sold all mine. I sold all mine.
I sold all the ones I didn't care about. Yep.
That's
not to say anything to you, Ryan.
That's
but
like shit.
At 33, I'm like, am I going to play any of these Pokemon games? No, I'm not. Like, they actually make really cool Pokemon hack games that are fun. Have you ever played?
Oh yeah.
Have you ever played Pokemon Cock?
Absolutely, it's my favorite.
Yo, get Pokemon Cock. And to all the listeners of Cards and Cartridges, get Pokemon
Cock.
Cock, not Cock. You can get it on AliExpress, right?
Yeah, it's like
$5.
Mad cheap. Yeah.
It's like a 12-year-old fucking wrote the whole thing. It's Pokemon, but it's all very sexualized. And Professor Oak will tell you in the beginning that people have sex with their Pokemon, which is weird.
That's very bizarre.
And instead of
that's a gray area.
Yes, but instead of the Pokemon getting confused and hurting themselves, they get horny and jack off into their eye and hurt themselves that way. It's ridiculous. It's like a 12-year-old wrote it, but it is amazing.
Okay.
It's a beautiful game.
I'm gonna take your word.
Check out twitch.tv/OG Red Show in about a week and a half for his next stream.
Yeah. I don't even know if I can stream that, but hey, we'll give it a shot.
Well, it's not
fun.
It's fun. The pixels aren't. It's not bad.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
It's just
the same game.
I mean, text will say like "God damn" or whatever. Like, but
we'll check it out.
The pixels aren't bad. Yeah. As long as you can have written curse words, you're fine.
Let's get into our last topic here. So every week we ask for a viewer question on @Cards and Cartridges on Instagram. And we had our buddy Korajae2 ask, what are your guys' biggest things on your bucket list? And I took this as maybe like give us your top thing on your collecting bucket list and give us your top thing on just your life adventure bucket list.
Oh,
So I don't know, Ryan, you want to start us off?
Okay, shit. Okay, I think collecting bucket list. I mean, like I alluded to before, I'm trying to collect all my childhood games, like super minty, sealed, whatever, graded, who knows. I think right now I've got my eyes set on the Pokemon stadiums. I don't have any Pokemon Stadium CIB yet. I have both those games loose, but Pokemon Stadium was like a huge part of my childhood, and definitely like, one of those that I just like. That's one of the ones that I need for sure.
I traded a pristine Pokemon Stadium to Game Beau for what's the Dreamcast horror game that's weird with the doll face?
Dead?
No, it's a doll like face that's bloody in the front.
Not
what is it called?
I was gonna say Clock Tower, but that's a PS1 game or PS2.
I'll find out.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What about your life bucket list, right?
Life bucket list. The first thing that came to my head, which I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, is to go like 200 miles per hour in a car. Like to really just like
I went 126 last night. That's the fastest I've gone.
Oh,
I wasn't driving.
Nice,
but I
buddy. What kind of car?
It was a Mustang.
Nice.
I'm glad you're still alive today.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It'll bleed. I traded it for it'll bleed.
Okay. Okay. Kelly, what about you? Bucket list and game bucket list?
Real life bucket list. There's there's a lot of things I'd like to do, but nothing that is. I'll knock all the stupid stuff off my bucket list. Like I had a bucket list, like I wanted to be able to present or receive a giant check or a ribbon with giant scissors.
Yeah,
which I had an opportunity to cut a ribbon with giant scissors,
I've done ribbon
but
with
they
giant
didn't
scissors.
give me giant scissors
I got
on my opening.
Giant scissors.
So anyway, besides the stupid stuff like that, the one thing I would really like to do sometime in my life is my family. My genetics, I'm like 50% Irish, 50% German, but my grandparents,
me too,
right on. My one set of grandparents took a trip when I was very young to Ireland, and they this was in the 90s, so ancestry.com wasn't a thing, but they did a genealogical list of their ancestors and basically went and said went to certain places that correlated with our family's line in Ireland. And when they passed away, we found a box of the entire trip itinerary.
Wow.
Like they saved pamphlets, they saved phone numbers of hotels, Airbnbs, essentially, beds and breakfasts, things like that over there that they would have stayed in. And they kept this whole list and everything. So I have the trip.
So you're trying
planned.
to do that trip.
That's awesome.
I would
That's
love
so
to be able to
cool.
take that exact same trip that they took all those years ago.
That gives me low-key goosebumps. I'm not even
Right.
gonna
Yeah,
lie
that's
to
really
you.
cool.
I've got a
It's
little
a-
bit of goosebumps.
It's a really
In my
cool
mind over here,
thing.
I'm like, skydiving would be cool.
Yeah,
But that's like one
awesome.
thing that like I'd like to retrace their steps
That's
and
super
like
cool.
maybe even take it a step further now that I have the technology to be
Yeah.
able to unpack a little bit more and kind of add to it. So that's
Hell
something
yeah.
I'd love to be able to do
You're
in my
such a
lifetime.
dancer.
So
Amazing.
gaming.
Yeah.
I don't really know if there's any like
You need those little plastic cartridges for your Game Boy games.
yeah, I need to get my set of Game Boy. That is a long-term goal that I've set out to do. So I'd like to be able to do that. But if I don't, it's not a big deal. I think like a holy grail kind of thing would be one of those little DMG Game Boy kiosks. I always thought those were cool.
Those are cool.
The coolest. I would
That would
love
be
one of
really
those.
rad.
Those are so cool.
The
Get my
ones with
hands on
the
that.
screen,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah,
big screen.
But
as
they're like
Game
a
Boy.
big
Yeah.
Game Boy.
Yeah.
Jay
I always
has
thought
them,
those were cool.
but I-
Yeah.
Jay
He
said
does.
that. Jay said that would be mine if he
I'll
does sell it.
straight up fight you. I will fight
I'm
you.
down. I am down to beat you up.
Let's
That's fine.
go.
All right, we're double teaming them.
Ah!
I know where
Double team
you
who?
live.
Precisely
Me?
versus cartridges boxing match.
Let's get Ryan.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Mm.
Bo,
Bo, I
what are
know
your
where
bucket
you
list
live. I'm
items?
coming for it. I'm
All
coming
right.
for it.
But what about
Well-
you, bro? Bucket list items. What do we got?
So I love collecting kiosks and stuff. And one of my favorites would be a virtual boy kiosk. I was certain.
Seen a couple of those.
Yeah, I was certain at one time I'd buy one, and I started like looking for virtual boy games, and I was like, I need to not buy virtual boy games until I have a kiosk.
I've got like 9 of 14 virtual boy games.
I think I've got 5.
Nice.
I've never had one ever.
And I've got a CIB virtual boy.
Do you?
I got for $35 at a gas station.
That's dope. And it
What?
works.
That's where I met the guy.
Okay.
Good.
I thought you bought
Just-
it in the gas station.
That
We
Like a
walked
mini
into a
mart.
Turkey Hill and it was
Yeah.
sitting behind the counter.
Cumberland Farms just happened to have a fucking virtual boy. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, so I guess a virtual boy kiosk, or
That's
like
rad.
I would love like, I don't know, like a PS Vita or a PSP kiosk, or like something that you don't really see, because I've never really like seen
I've never
any
seen a
of them,
Vita
but
kiosk.
yeah, you like in Europe you see them and stuff. Like a Wonder Swan kiosk would be dope, but I don't even know if that's a thing.
Yeah.
I've looked for them on Google and I haven't seen them, but I'm sure at one point Japan had a Wonder Swan kiosk,
Had
you
to
know,
have.
right? Like you would
They
think
had
so.
to have.
Yeah. So on the hunt for the weird.
That's the thing. If I can interrupt you just real
Yeah.
quick, like kiosks, like not all of them are well documented.
Yeah, I know.
And that was the thing I was having trouble with selling my GameCube kiosk, because it was so unique and just different. And it was the only one I could find of its kind.
Yeah,
while
we
still-
chatted about it for a while.
Well, yeah, exactly. While still being like legit, Nintendo had all the, the barcodes, the scans with the Nintendo, information. It's like none of this exists online, but it's clearly a legit product. So it's just interesting to think that like there really are some kiosks that are out there that are like who
Maybe one of
knows, really,
ones.
one of one.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
For sure.
But they were built for specific stores,
For sure.
Oh
For
yeah,
sure.
and most people had to give them back basically, and who knows what they did with them then? They probably just scrapped them.
Grab
and
them.
Called it.
But yeah,
Lost
that's a
to
cool. That's a
time.
cool bucket list kiosk.
Yeah, so either that, I mean, I would love like Earthbound CIB, but like I'm not a cardboard collector in any sense.
Yeah.
And like Earthbound's always been my favorite game since day one. It's a game that got me into collecting when it first came out in 96. Like it's a game where I was like, I need to chase other video games that are like this, and I never found one that was quite like it. My neighbors had it for the longest time, and I would just watch them play it. I didn't even play it, and I fell in love with it as a child. So I have a lot of nostalgia for that game, but not willing to spend thousands of dollars for cardboard.
It's crazy what it's gotten up to now.
Yeah, I know. I could have bought it like 2 years ago for $750, and
I
instead I
sold
bought
mine
it.
for
like
$800. I sold
Yeah.
it for $800.
Yeah, and I like instead I bought an N64 kiosk, a kid's pace N64 kiosk,
That's way
which
cooler.
is way more rare than any Earthbound CIB game. So, and that was only $300, but it was the same year that I could have bought that, and I was like, yeah, I already spent my big money,
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend any more money on cardboard.
Yeah.
Bucket list in life, man. I don't fucking know. Like literally my life matters about my kid and wife now.
Yeah.
Like it was always about me until I had a child, and like now that's all that matters, and you won't understand until you have your own child.
That gets me fired up, dude.
Yeah.
Give me
Have a
like
baby.
7 years. I'll be there.
Yeah, like seriously, and wait as long as you can, because money will run a little dry where you're just like, fuck, because like your wife's not working or your partner's not working, or whatever. Like it's different times and different changes in life, and it's all good, it's all fine. But like to me, I guess bucket list would be to see other areas of the world. Like the Mayan temples would be like an amazing thing to see in my eyes, and like Scotland and Ireland, where I'm from as well. Like Kelly was saying, like I would love to go there. Like I've had my passport for like 7 years and I've never gotten out of the country, which sucks. My wife has, to the Turks and Caicos, but
I just watched I follow a guy on YouTube and Instagram who he just completed this week. He's seen every country and he's been to every country in the world. So he completed 197 of 197 today.
What a savage.
And his last country was Saudi Arabia.
and that's a set, man. Like that's a set to
That's
complete.
a set for sure.
he was like doing like a Q&A on his Instagram, and he's like, somebody asked like how many people have actually done that. He's like, documented lists are kind of all over the place. It's hard to know like who's serious and who hasn't done it. He goes, but there's somewhere between like 305 people ever that's seen every country in the world.
Yeah.
Insane.
I would have
That's
guessed
great.
even lower, honestly. That's so like, because it's like time. Like,
Yeah.
think about 197. That's more than 2 places a year.
And then
Yeah.
think of something now. It's like you can't, like, Americans can't even get into North Korea now.
That's true.
Like,
That's
you're gonna be
true.
stuck at 196 even if you complete it.
That's
But
true.
that kind of goes along with my life bucket
Didn't even
list.
think
It's
about
like
that.
the stadium events is North
Right.
Korea.
Yeah, stadium events is North Korea. That's true. Honestly, if you've learned anything from this podcast, guys, thank you for listening up until this point. And if you learn anything, you've learned that stadium events is equal to
North Korea.
there you go.
Yeah.
where they produced Pokemon cock.
Yes, probably.
Probably.
You guys need to play it. It's fucking fun.
I will.
It's
But that goes along
ridiculous.
with my life bucket
Yeah,
list.
Koozie bucket list ended off for us, buddy. What do
Becca
you
and I
got?
want to see all 50 states. So we
Aw,
have
It's a
a
good
That's
list.
cute.
we have a map. So like when we go to a state, we'll take a picture in it, and then you can like upload the picture to this website, and it like resizes the photo to that like shape, that the shape of that state. So then you print it off and put it
Cute.
on the map.
Cute.
So
That's
we've
cool.
seen like 12 now together with our road trip and just going to like Ohio or whatever.
We're getting there.
So we want to see all 50 states. And then gaming bucket list, I want to complete the N64 library. I'm like 30 games short.
Oh,
You're
you'll
close.
get that
You're
easy.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, Beau, thank you guys so much for coming on the Cards and Cartridges podcast.
It's been a blast.
Please check out their podcast, Precisely Podcast. We're going to be setting up in the near future, myself and or Ryan and I, to go on their podcast. So we'll be sure to post that in our stories and let you guys know when we're doing that. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. Beau and Kelly, do you have anything else you want to say today, or any specific places where we can find you?
Well, thank you for having us, guys. It's a pleasure to be on Cards and Cartridges podcast. I was going to ask you earlier, like, how the fuck do you sell Pokemon cards in bulk? But we'll get to that in a private DM. It's fine. My wife sold a bunch of base set fucking cards for 99 cents. Nobody fucking bid it on them. And
It's
I'm
tough.
like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Either way, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We'll talk
You can
about it.
find at Beau's_game room, and you can find our podcast at Precisely Podcast. We're a beer and video game podcast, but really, like, we're more beer than video games, and we're more just like nerd talk or just like random talk than video games. We don't talk about the news. We don't talk really about like what's going on. We just more so just like ramble, and it's fun. Like, people
I've
like
been on
it.
it. It's a great time.
Yeah, both of you guys.
Literally,
have been on
both of
it.
you have been on
Yeah.
it. Yes, separately.
And, separately before you guys even had this podcast.
That's
So
true.
Yep.
hopefully we influence Cards and Cartridges
100%.
podcast in some
Yes,
sort of
definitely.
way. Yeah.
You got DM
yeah.
Kelly or you and ask how you guys upload your podcast.
Yeah.
There you go.
100%. I'm glad to help on the ground floor.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kelly, anything else from you? Anything else you want to say? Shout out? Any plugs?
I appreciate both of you. Y'all are both a couple of real dudes, and glad to call you guys friends, you know, on the internet
with my
and
empathy for
on
that.
podcasting. Guys do an awesome job. You've been doing an awesome job with the Twitch sales and stuff. I know I don't get to tune in as often now with my schedule, but you guys do an awesome job with that.
Thank you.
And I guess you can follow me on Highway to Kill on Instagram if you want to check that out.
Oh yeah.
The business is retro and rad if you want to check that out. And Precisely is an awesome time too. So if you feel so inclined, join us there at some point. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's it from me.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you for listening to episode 35 of the Cards and Cartridge podcast. We appreciate you all. Make sure to thumbs up, rate that stuff, 5-star review, Apple Podcasts, all that jazz. Have a great rest of your week. Peace.
See ya.